啲畫面啊，一切啊正常啦。咁呢度都可能有個腳架，係 OK。咦？Hello，一切正常呢 ？Hello Daniel，Hi，多謝你撳入嚟支持啊！我見有笑喊樣，點解有笑喊樣？好，咁可以一齊睇下呢個短故事啦。咁 Facebook 嗰邊就 set up 咗啦，咁 YouTube 似乎咧都 set up 咗。YouTube 嘅朋友咧都俾少少反應我啊，即係等我知道下咧而家嗰個叫做聲量係咪所有嘢正常，好嗎？係咪正常 ？Facebook YouTube 應該話正常啊嘛？你使唔使過嚟呢邊啊？我同 Eric 講緊，因為我想校好個位先。會唔會有啲細啊？而家咁好似好啲喎，兩邊都。
咁樣好似好啲喎。
Teresa Chang，OK。Teresa Chang，OK，Hi Phoebe。好啦，咁樣咧，呢個故事咧就叫做 The Trial of Thomas Builds the Fire。咦，冇咗嘅，唔關我事。我撳開咗 Facebook，係啦，跟住啦，好，我咁樣啦會好啲。好，咁樣兩邊都得啦。Thomas builds the fire, waited alone in the Spokane tribal holding cell while BIA is his future, the immediate present, and of course his past. Builds the fire has a history of this kind of behavior, a man in the BIA suit said to the others, a storytelling fetish accompanied by an extreme need to tell the truth. Dangerous. Thomas was in the holding cell because he had once held the reservation postmaster hostage for 8 hours and had also threatened to make significant changes in the tribal vision. But that crisis was resolved years ago as... 睇下先，跟住。先，跟住 Thomas surrendered 有啲細係咪？咁樣會好。係啦 ，OK 好啲。Thomas surrendered voluntarily and agreed to remain silent. In fact, Thomas had not spoken in nearly 20 years. All his stories remained internal. He would not even send letters or Christmas cards. But recently, Thomas had begun to make small noises, form syllables that contain and meaning that entire sentences instructed by the BIA. Hi, Trista! A noise that sounded something like rain had given Esther courage enough to leave her husband, tribal chairman David Walks Along, who had been tribal police chief at the time of Thomas Butte the Fire's original crime. Walked along with BIA policies so willingly that he took to calling his wife a savage in polyester pants. Back the day after she listened to Thomas speak. Arrested the day after Esther left. Now Thomas sat quietly in his cell, counting cockroaches and silverfish. He couldn't sleep. He didn't feel like好似 YouTube 嗰邊爭啲係嘛？ 你幫我又 check 住嗰個啱。And spoke his story aloud. It all started on September 1858. I was a young pony, strong and quick in every movement. I remember this still. There was so much to fear on that day when Colonel George Wright took me, and 799 of my brothers captive. Imagine, 800 beautiful ponies stolen at once. It was the worst kind of war crime. But Colonel Wright thought we were too many to transport, and we were all dangerous. In fact, I still carry his letter of that day, which justified the coming slaughter. Dear Sir, as I reported in my communication yesterday, the capture of 800 horses on the 8th instant, I have now to add that this large band of horses composed the entire wealth of the spokesman chief Tilcox Chief Tilcox Tilcox. This man has never been hostile. For the last 2 years, he has been constantly sending his young men into the Walla Walla Valley, stealing horses and cattle from the settlers and from the government. He boldly acknowledged these facts when he met Colonel Steptoe in May last. Retributive justice has now overtaken him. The blow has been severe, but well merited. I found myself embarrassed with these 800 horses. I could not hazard the experiment of moving with such a number of animals, many of them very wild, along with my large train. Should a stampede take place, we might not only lose our captured animals, but many of our own. Under those circumstances, I determined to kill them all, save a few in service. Hi, Roy Wong. Hi, Yuki. Hi. Okay. Under those circumstances, I determined to kill them all, save a few in service in the quartermaster's department, and replace broken down animals. I deeply regretted killing these poor creatures, but a dire necessity drove me to it. This work of slaughter has been going on since 10 o'clock of yesterday and will not be completed before this evening. And I shall march for the Coeur d'Alene mission tomorrow. Very respectfully, your obedient servant, G. Wright, Colonel 9th Infantry, commanding. Somehow I was lucky enough to be spared. Hi, Nikki. Hi, why are you here? It's the first time I see you here. 好，跟住 Somehow I was lucky enough to be spared, while hundreds of my brothers and sisters fell together. It was a nightmare to witness. They were rounded into a corral and then lassoed. 即係用鞭係咪鞭打 one by one and dragged out to be shot in the head. This lasted for hours, and all the dark night mothers cried for the dead children. The next day, the survivors were rounded into a single mass and slaughtered by continuous rifle fire. Thomas opened his eyes and found that most of the Indians in the courtroom wept and wanted to admit defeat. He then closed his eyes and continued the story. But I was not going to submit without a struggle. 好，跟住呢度。下一個係睇先，100 OK 得。呢個好，跟住點解嗌咩 in size 咁得意嘅？呢個99。哦，係咪應該98啊？跟住，哦。得 ，OK， 我見到啦，應該係98呢度。紐約時報學英文好啊，遲啲啊。I would continue the war. At first I was passive, let one man saddle me and ride for a while. He laughed at the illusion of my weakness, but suddenly I rose up and bucked him off and broke his arm. Another man tried to ride me, but I threw him and so many others, until I was lathered with sweat and blood from their spurs and rifle butts. It was glorious. Finally they gave up, quit, and led me to the back of the train. They could not break me. Some may have wanted to kill me for my arrogance, but others respected my anger, my refusal to admit defeat. I lived that day, even escaped Colonel Wright, and galloped into other histories. 又講隻馬嘅自白喎，呢度都幾得意。Eric 可唔可以將個 link 咧擺去下邊 comment 嗰度，等佢哋可以睇，因為我知道你哋可能睇呢個嘅時候會有啲辛苦咧，即係啲字有啲細啊。Okay? 好，跟住 Thomas opened his eyes and saw that the Indians in the courtroom sat up straight, combed their braids gracefully, smiled with Indian abandon. Mr. Butts to fire, the judge said. The judge asked, is that the extent of your testimony? Your Honor, if I may continue, there is much more I need to say. There are so many more stories to tell. The judge looked at Thomas Butts to fire for an instant, decided to let him continue. 係嘛？係啊，因為我轉咗望咗去另一邊。所以我唔肯定自己讀得啱。Thomas closed his eyes, and a new story was raised from the ash of the older stories. From the ash of older stories. My name was Quelchen, and I had been fighting for our people, for our land. It was horrendous hiding in the dirt at the very mouth of the Spokane River, where my fellow warrior Moses found me after he escaped Colonel Wright's camp. Quelchen, he said to me, you must stay away from Wright's camp. He means to hang you. But Wright had taken my father hostage. 我頭先應該讀錯咗 hostage 呢個字，讀得太快啦。And threatened to hang him if I did not come in. Wright promised he would treat me fairly. I believed him and went to the colonel's camp and was immediately placed in chains. It was then I saw the hangman's noose and made the fight to escape. My wife also fought beside me with a knife and wounded many soldiers before she was subdued. After I was beaten down, they dragged me to the noose, and I was hanged with 6 other Indians, including Epsil, who had never raised a hand in anger to any white or Indian. Thomas opened his eyes and swallowed air hard. He could barely breathe, and the courtroom grew distant and vague. Mr. Butts to fire, the judge asked, and brought Thomas back to attention. What point are you trying to make with the story? Well, Thomas said, the city of Spokane is now building a golf course named after me, Quelchen, located in the valley where I was hanged. The courtroom burst into motion and emotion. The judge hammered his gavel against his bench. Bailiff had to restrain Eve Ford, who had made a sudden leap of faith across the room and toward Thomas. Thomas, she yelled, we are all listening. The bailiff had his hands full as Eve slugged him twice and then pushed him to the ground. Eve stomped on the bailiff's big belly until 2 tribal policemen tackled her, handcuffed her, and led her away. Thomas, she yelled, we hear you. The judge was red-faced with anger. He almost looked Indian. He pounded his gavel until it broke. Order in the court, he shouted. Order in the fucking court. The tribal policemen grew in number. Many were Indians that the others had never seen before. The policemen swelled. 跟住呢，仲有少少嘅。In size and forced the others out of the courtroom. After the court was cleared and order restored, the judge pulled his replacement gavel from beneath his robe and continued the trial. Now the judge said, we can go about the administration of justice. Is that real justice or the idea of justice? Thomas asked him, and the judge flew back into anger. Defense testimony is over, he said. Mr. Butts the fire, you will now be cross-examined. Thomas watched the prosecuting attorney approach the witness stand. Mr. Butts the fire, he said, where were you on May 16th, 1858? I was in the vicinity of Rosalia, Washington, along with 799 other warriors, ready to battle with Colonel Steptoe and his soldiers. And could you explain exactly what happened that day? Thomas closed his eyes and told his story. My name is Wild Coyote, and I was just 16 years old and was frightened because this was to be my first battle. But we were confident because Steptoe's soldiers were so small and weak. They tried to negotiate a peace. But our war chiefs would not settle for anything short of blood. You must understand, these were days of violence and continual lies from the white man. Steptoe said he wanted peace between whites and Indians, but he had cannons and had lied before, so we refused to believe him this time. Instead, we attacked at dawn and killed many of their soldiers and lost only a few warriors. The soldiers made a stand on the hilltop, and we surrounded them, amazed at their tears and cries. But you must understand, they were also very brave. The soldiers fought well, but there were many Indians for them that day. Night fell and we retreated a little as we always do during dark. Somehow the surviving soldiers escaped during the night, and many of us were happy for them. They had fought so well that they deserved to live another day. Thomas opened his eyes and found the prosecuting attorney's long nose just inches from his own. Mr. Butts the fire, how many soldiers did you kill that day? Thomas closed his eyes and told another story. I killed one soldier right out with an arrow to the chest. He fell off his horse and didn't move again. I shot another soldier and he fell off his horse too, and I ran over to him and take his scalp, but he pulled his revolver and shot me through the shoulder. I still have the scar. It hurts so much. It hurts so much that I left the soldier and then went away to die. I really thought that I was going to die, and I suppose the soldier probably died later. So I went and lay down in this tall grass and watched the sky. It was beautiful and I was ready to die. It had been a good fight. I lay there for part of the day and most of the night until one of my friends picked me up and said the soldiers had escaped. My friend tied himself to me and we rode away with the others. That is what happened. Thomas opened his eyes and faced the prosecuting attorney. Mr. Butts the fire, you do admit willingly that you murdered 2 soldiers in cold blood and with premeditation. Yes, I killed those soldiers, but they were good men. I did it with sad heart and hand. There was no way I could ever smile or laugh again. I'm not sorry we had to fight, but I'm sorry those men had to die. Mr. Butts the fire, please answer the question. Did you or did you not murder those 2 soldiers in cold blood and with premeditation? I did. 好，咁呢度仲有繼續 Article from the Spokesman Review, October the 7th, 19... Butts the fire to smolder in prison. Well print, Washington. Thomas Butts the fire, the self-proclaimed visionary of the Spokane tribe, was sentenced today to 2 concurrent life terms in Walla Walla State Penitentiary. His many supporters battled with police for over 8 hours following the verdict. U.S. District Judge James Wright asked, "Do you have anything you want to say now, Mr. Butts the fire?" Butts the fire simply shook his head, no, and was led away by prison officials. Wright told Wright told Builds the Fire that the new federal sentencing guidelines require the imposition of a life sentence for racially motivated murder. There is no possibility for parole, said U.S. prosecuting attorney Adolph J. D. Jim, an enrolled member of the Yakima Indian Nation. The only appeal I have is for justice, Builds the Fire reportedly said as he was transported away from this story into the next. Thomas Builds the Fire said quietly as the bus traveled down the highway toward Walla Walla State Penitentiary. There were 6 other prisoners, 4 African men, 1 Chicago, and a white man from the smallest town in the state. I know who you are, the Chicano said to Thomas. You are the Indian guy who did all the talking. Yeah, one of the African men said. You're that storyteller. Tell us some stories, Chief. Give us the scoop. Thomas looked at these 5 men who shared his skin color, at the white man who shared this bus, which was going to deliver them to a new kind of reservation, barrio, ghetto, locking town, tin shack. He then looked out the window, through the steel grates on the windows at the freedom just outside the glass. He saw wheat fields, bodies of water, bodies of dark-skinned workers pulling fruit from trees and sweat from thin air. Thomas closed his eyes and told this story. 好啦，咁咧就完咗啦。呢一篇故事係咪好得意咧？即係講一個 Indian 係啦，咁呢個咧其實我都係第一次睇嘅啫，我都係同大家第一次睇。咁唔知大家對呢啲文學作品係幾有興趣嘅？因為文學呢啲嘢咧，推介睇書定睇紐約報紙好？冇得咁講喎，兩樣嘢嚟。Roy， 咁睇下你其實講緊係即係。你想咩目的咯？即係你係想學 journalism 定係乜嘢先？即係你學一啲 journalism 嘅 English 啊，定係乜嘢英文啊？同埋你書係睇咩書先？好難講。同埋亦都要 depends on 你嘅興趣啦。咁其實大家唔明文學呢啲嘢唔緊要嘅，即係你當佢係一啲音樂咁樣咧，喺背後好似 background music 咁樣 play 下就得㗎啦。或者文學呢啲第一次睇唔明都唔緊要㗎。咁。同埋預咗一樣嘢就係你睇得文學咧，就一定有好多嘢要研究啊，上網睇 wiki 啊，好多嘢㗎啦。咁所以如果大家真係唔係好明呢篇文咧，唔緊要嘅，係非常之正常。其實我可以同你講，我都唔係好明，即係我睇 Kafka 我都要去做好多 research 我先至明，就唔係我第一次睇就會明。咁所以我同大家第一次睇咧，就可能都會有啲字讀錯都唔一定㗎，唔出奇㗎。可能亦都有啲字我唔識㗎。咁所以係啦，希望大家咧都 enjoy 今日嘅 read aloud session 啦。之後可能再同大家做多啲 read aloud session，再加埋賞識就更加得意啦，我覺得。咁咧今日嘅 live 就去到呢度啦，希望咧會幫到你啦。咁希望遲啲再做多啲 live 啦。咁如果你想我再做多啲 live 咧，記住要 comment 多啲啦，同埋 share 啦，因為咧你 comment 我就會知道你係中意我哋做 live，咁我就會做多啲噶。好，下次見，拜拜。